Why, hello everybody. Welcome. I'm No02.
The raiding
Thank you.
aren't going to
Thank you
wait
for
while you
watching
mope
this
around.
this
Now
video.
move out.
Excuse me. Thank you for watching this video. I appreciate it. As you can see here, I'm No02. That's right, No02, like no oxygen. As you can see here, we're on. Does it say? Yeah, we're on clean sweep. We're on clean sweep. And I'm actually revisiting clean sweep here. Headphone was squeaking. I'm actually revisiting clean sweep here because I realized that the strategy that I originally showed you guys and exampled in my playthrough is rather hard. It's not the easiest strategy at all. The strategy takes advantage of us manipulating the game director, where we force our way inside the liquor store with the horde bearing down on us, get into the liquor store, push a zombie spawn that's happening inside the liquor store, we push it outside. And every once in a while that will actually end up resulting in spawning less zombies over the course of the run. But it's hard. It takes team coordination. If your teammates are dead, you can't really do it by yourself. It's pretty easy to do with bots because the bots will just follow you and stick close to you and things like that. Right? But not the easiest thing to do. Kind of cool that we sort of understand the game director to do that and manipulate it. But in this video, I'm going to talk about two separate holdout spots that use the same strategy to deal with the liquor store horde. There's two quirks that come with these spots, and that sort of these quirks sort of bring up an interesting understanding of how the game director works. So the strategy is similar on Blood Tunnel, where you have one player jump down as like a sacrificial lamb, and they go and trigger the ogre and then run back. The other three players are up on the high ground at the start of Blood Tunnel. The strategy is we're going to go out there, we kill the breaker. We go out there and we kill the breaker. As a team, you sort of make progress towards the liquor store and etc., right? Clearing out the alleyway and sort of getting there. Once you're there, once you've successfully gotten there, which can be a hard thing to do on Nightmare, three players will fall back to one of two holdout spots that I'm going to show you here. Right? Three of those players. It's usually easier with three of them. It's usually easier for one player to run back than everybody. But so basically, you have three players run back. Those three players are the insurance. They're going to fall back to a holdout spot, one of two. Once they're there, the player who's at the gate will then trigger the liquor store horde, and then he'll run back to the rest of the team, run the gauntlet. So ideally, you have one player who maybe has an extra bit of movement speed card in it or extra stamina. Almost all of my decks at this point, you have at least two, sometimes three movement-based cards, so you will actually be pretty suited for the job as well. You can ask a teammate to carry maybe a pipe bomb for you, and you can swap grenades with them, and you can pipe bomb your way back out as a little bit of extra reassurance for yourself, stuff like that. But basically, the strategy is you have one player who goes out to be a sacrificial lamb, they hit the button to trigger the liquor store horde, and then you retreat back to a holdout spot. This does, if the holdout spot is here,
Over there.
a lot of times the zombies chasing you would despawn, potentially, things like that. But the point of this holdout spot, this is spot number one. This is spot number one. Three players are waiting here. We have this incredible choke point here. Super duper incredible choke point. Killing zombies, not an issue. Killing hawkers, exploders, wretches, reekers, things like that, not an issue. Not an issue at all with this choke point because it's so dang long. Now, if a tall boy shows up, depending on what your team composition is, if you have a super high damage DPS sniper rifle man, then yeah, potentially killing a tall boy before he gets all the way through is in the cards maybe, but ideally you just have your grenades, you toss a grenade, you kill the tall boy, right? So this is a great spot to hold out at. There is one more that I'm going to show you. But one super important thing, one quirk that both spots have is
Bad guys! Lots of bad guys!
That right there is a spawn point for zombies and mutations. specifically right here. Behind this wall, if all 3 or 4 players are down here fighting off the liquor store horde, zombies and mutations will start to spawn behind you from the safe room. So at this spot, you need one player literally standing right here. Hey guys, just to get vision of this area. Yeah, right? So again, just to recap, we have one player who's out there. He hits the liquor store button, he's running back. The other 3 players, they're already here, waiting. Because even if that player who's running back dies, 3 players could very easily hold this location from that horde, kill all the hawkers that come out, kill the tall boys, whatever, it calms down. Then you just mosey on back to the liquor store, kill the zombies left over, kill the mutations left over. Easy peasy, nothing chasing you. Save the survivors, get the hell out. With the spot though, remember, of these 3 players who are here, one of them needs to be up there holding vision. So if 2 players here get overwhelmed, just run back up here, and you sort of reset, restabilize, and you're trapped here now. There's not a lot of room to get out, but you still have space to maneuver and stuff like that. So just a different way to deal with this horde at the liquor store, in that we don't need to force our way into the liquor store, we don't need to hold in a corner at the liquor store, etc., etc., etc. So I'm actually just going to skip the break here. I'm going to run right to the next spot. Run to the right to the next spot. Alright, so here is the other holdout spot that we will get to example. But something else is potentially could be exampled here.
I live for this.
What the fuck?
So this, I think, it would be in most circumstances the ideal holdout spot for our sacrificial lamb player, because this is closer. This is a closer run
Can't see your enemy. Sure as hell.
for our running player. But essentially, you have the team up here. They're holding out, and etc. Right?
Reloading.
So same idea. You have 2 or 3 players who are here, holding out against the horde. I mean, yeah, holding out against the horde here. You have one player who's a sacrificial lamb. He runs back. Everyone regroups here. You wait the horde out here. Super duper easy peasy. Really nice long line of sight to kill zombies. If any sort of mutation shows up, you throw a grenade at it.
Wait, there's
If you have the secret room here, you're not trapped. If you get overwhelmed, you retreat back into here. Alright, you retreat back into here.
They are here.
see that?
You can hold off here, and if you get overwhelmed here, you can jump out.
Let's see what you got, shall we?
You can jump out of the window and then run for the hills if need be, right? So this is a really, really nice place to hold out at. Same exact strategy that we're using back at the safe room, right? Same exact strategy.
Hey, need some for me. Not too many of you. Duck and cover, everyone. Gotta find a soft spot.
Right, same exact strategy. Oh, he's supposed to get stunned when you pop his thing.
Need to reload.
We're on recruit mode, right? Here, I need to talk more, Breaker.
Guys messing with H.R. Hoffman.
Same exact strategy
Nicely done.
that we're doing. Sacrificial lamb.
Episode 1,
Team is here,
we're setting up a
and you
triage
hold out.
lo-
This is much, much, much easier than playing the horde out at the liquor store. Because holding inside the liquor store, doing the strategy I talked about, or holding out at the gate, just not the best place. There's the thresholds, the doorways are double doorways. Like the gate to enter the liquor store is double wide. Zombies like to spread out naturally in this game, so it's just a harder place to hold out at. And if you have the secret room here, that's doubly good for you guys.
Beyond yon door.
Doubly good for you guys, because it gives you an extra fallback point. So if you're sort of lacking grenades, and you're worried about getting trapped up here, worried about tall boys and things like that, the safe room is probably a better holdout spot for you guys, because at least then you have some maneuverability for dealing with tall boys and etc. But hopefully you have some grenades. You should have some grenades left over. Or flashbangs at the very least, right? One thing here that it's important to note, just like at the safe room holdout, the blue container holdout, this can be a door sometimes, right? This can be a door sometimes. Zombies will spawn behind this door when it is a door, right? So, similar to how you need to have a player in the safe room to have vision, so nothing spawns behind you, one of the 3 players who's up here needs to sort of be right here-ish and have vision of this room. And I actually recommend that you destroy the door when it's here. Just shoot it, destroy it. Just to guarantee that you have maximum vision of this room. And if the door swung out this way, it's not blocking anyone's path into the secret room. Alright, so same exact strategy. Kind of a neat thing. One thing that I want to talk about here is the principle of what's happening with these strategies, right? We want to think in terms of where's a good place to hold out at. You'll see the better players. You see the better players will have better reaction time when it comes to a horde being triggered. Here we're triggering an in-match, an in-mission horde, right? A pre-scripted horde. But the unscripted ones, right? Like the birds and the sleepers, the snitches, the car alarms, things like that. The better players will react immediately to those horde events. A horde event is triggered by you or a teammate. Whoops, it happens, right? The good players will immediately start running to a place like this. They'll immediately start running to a hallway, to a room, to a place on the map that's really good to hold out at. The best players do that, and they do it faster and faster and faster. They do it faster than everyone else, right? The players that don't do this at all, who try to fight a horde standing in the middle of a street,
Nothing to
right?
worry about.
They die. Those players die. They die in the middle of the street because they have 360 angles worth of danger, right? So the best players will run back to a horde, to a place like this automatically. So try to look at the map. Try to look at the map from this lens, right? From this lens of hallways and thresholds. Where do I want to go when a horde is triggered? And this will just take general map knowledge. My walkthroughs of the checkpoints will point some of those places out, though I miss some of them and don't talk about all of them. Discover places that you think are great as well. Because sometimes just getting yourself in a corner and just meleeing, 180 degrees, not ideal, but it is a winnable situation to be in. Things like that, right? Just think in terms of like that, because you're going to have way, way, way more success when you react immediately to a triggered horde with that mentality of getting to a safe place. So just recognize, like, oh, I'm on clean sweep, and a horde is triggered, and I'm over here. The second that horde is triggered, you're going, oh crap, get in here, blah, 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 etc. One thing to note about this spot in particular, though, is that a horde is triggered and you're running up these stairs. Remember, this is a spawn point. Sometimes zombies are running down the stairs as you're running up them because a horde is triggered, and you'll need to sort of fight your way in and get vision and push that spawn point out of this area. So just keep that in mind. Obviously, different places and on different maps will not have this problem. It's also important to note that the fact that we have this problem at all, that zombies can spawn behind this door and up here if we don't have vision of it, just gives us a little bit more insight into how the game director works. The game director is always trying to spawn things in proximity to us, right?
Muchas gracias, my friend.
Right? So, and one key component to that is vision of the location. And I'm serious. When I say that, I've had all 4 players standing over here, holding off the horde, looking down here, and had a tall boy spawn literally right there and kill all of us. It just happens, right? It doesn't feel fair, but it happens. So vision tends to be more important than proximity because the game is rather lenient about spawning things right next to us. One interesting thing that we can do about this is, I'll give an example of how you control a speedrunner. The game is spawning by proximity and vision. I've had instances where I've had a speedrunner way in a map, right? He just opened up the safe room door and he took off. The three of us were like, okay, whatever. We're playing the map, there's nothing to do except loot, and we're just slowly walking through. One of us three players got grabbed by a sleeper. Oops, it happens. The horde spawned, though, at the player who was furthest in the map, the speedrunner. A horde spawned around the speedrunner, it swarmed him, it killed the speedrunner, he was mad at us, he left. So just keep in mind again that we're learning more about the game director and how it functions.
Now's the time to shine, HR. Reloading!
Right? There's invisible triggers on all of the maps. These triggers are progress through the map, right?
They have no manners.
So typically the game director is going to prioritize the player who is furthest in the map. So again, now we can potentially see how, like, we could have a sacrificial lamb speedrunner sort of concept going on here.
Need light here.
Not necessarily recommended or plays into the spirit of a 4-player co-op game. But just understand that, like, the game is spawning things in proximity to you. So, for instance, when we're at the liquor store, and we hit the button to spawn a horde, the horde is spawning at the liquor store. If we just run away and get to here, that horde is just chasing us. We get here, we get time to set up. Players are already waiting. This is sort of a neat way that we can understand the game director. Neat way that we can manipulate it. Things like that. And 2 better holdout spots to deal with the liquor store horde. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. I just wanted to talk about these concepts and give you some better information on how to deal with clean sweep. And how you can look at the map, right? Just recap, sacrificial lamb strategy. The rest of the team is waiting at a good holdout spot. Trigger the horde. Hold out the horde at a better spot than the liquor store. You'll have more success. 2, look at the map from this perspective of where are the good holdout spots. Always keep them in mind. Whenever a horde is triggered, you should immediately be running back to them, almost no matter where you are. Backtrack if you need to. Get to a place that's good at holding off the horde. Don't risk losing the whole run because you decided to fight a horde of zombies in the middle of an open field. Does not work like that. And 3, just understand that the game director is manipulable, or we can manipulate it. Getting vision of certain areas, very critical to some places, some holdout spots, as well as just pushing danger away from you, things like that. Just recognize that the game director is something that we can learn and understand, and that we'll continue to learn and understand it as time goes on, and etc. Because sometimes there's very specific things per map that we can do to manipulate that game director. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it, and I'll see you in the future.